You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not weak. You're overstimulated. We live in a world that demands focus, while feeding us distraction. It preaches self-discipline, but sells instant gratification. It's like trying to meditate in the middle of fireworks. No one can find peace when everything screams for attention. And yet, we blame ourselves for not being productive enough. But the problem isn't your effort, it's the noise. Every notification gives your brain a microdose of pleasure. And the result is predictable: burnout. Today, a dopamine detox is more urgent than any diet or workout. Because what's out of shape is your mind. Your brain was never designed to chase 1,000 stimuli. It was made to go deep into one thing at a time. And when that doesn't happen, the cost is high: broken focus, shallow sleep, and that empty feeling of being always on, but never alive. The good news: there's a way back, and it doesn't come from another app or productivity hack. It comes from silence, from learning to sit with yourself again, from building self-discipline without self-hate, and discovering that resilience isn't brute strength, it's calm endurance. Let's begin by facing the invisible addiction to constant stimulation. There's an addiction no one talks about: the addiction to being constantly stimulated. We live in an endless loop of instant gratification, where every notification is like a spoonful of mental sugar. Imagine drinking a spoon of sugar every time your phone lights up. Eventually, your brain becomes diabetic with dopamine. That's why dopamine detox isn't about cutting pleasure, it's about resetting your mind's taste for it. Because when everything stimulates you, nothing moves you anymore. He remembered when he couldn't watch a movie without checking his phone every 10 minutes. It wasn't boredom, it was withdrawal. That's digital distraction at work. It hijacks your focus and makes silence feel like danger. Reading a book feels like climbing a mountain. Talking without scrolling feels unnatural. And the worst part? We call that normal life. The problem isn't stimulation itself, it's the overdose. When you lose sensitivity, even sunsets feel dull. That's why self-discipline is freedom. It's the power to choose what enters your mind, instead of letting everything flood in. And that's the first act of resilience: learning to stay with the silence, instead of escaping it. That's where the story turns into the collapse of the tired mind. There comes a moment when your body is still, but your mind keeps racing like a broken engine. You try to rest, but your brain has forgotten how. It's like driving with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. You're not lazy, you're burning out in place. Modern life has made fatigue a constant background noise. Too many tabs open, too many micro-decisions, and nothing truly done. Procrastination doesn't come from laziness, it comes from overload. Instant gratification steals the joy of progress and replaces it with the addiction to urgency. Each hit of stimulation promises relief and delivers exhaustion. Then it hit him. Silence wasn't the enemy, it was the cure. Modern Stoicism calls this self-discipline, the art of choosing what enters the mind. Marcus Aurelius said it best: you have power over your mind, not outside events. When stimulation stops being a tyrant and becomes a choice, resilience is born. And maybe the real cure for chaos is learning to pause. The first day of a dopamine detox feels like torture. The noise fades, and your thoughts start screaming. No music, no scrolling, no background chaos to drown yourself in. Just you, and the echo of your own mind. He sat there, and for the first time in years, he actually heard himself. The world hadn't sped up, he had. And the process of overcoming pain began right there, in the raw discomfort of boredom. Then something shifted. Clarity arrived quietly, like light entering a dark room. He started noticing birds singing, the smell of coffee, the simple joy of finishing something without distraction. It felt like wiping dust off a window. The world hadn't changed, he was just seeing it clearly again. Self-discipline stopped being punishment and became freedom. Because boredom isn't a prison, it's a portal. When you break free from instant gratification, you rediscover joy in the simple things. That's where resilience grows, not in noise, but in stillness. And when the noise fades, something powerful returns. Focus. When the noise disappears, the signal finally appears. Focus feels effortless again. The mind, once hijacked by digital distraction, begins to enjoy the present moment. No rush, no guilt, just presence. Sleep deepens. Mood stabilizes. Energy feels real again. In this space of clarity, creativity isn't forced, it flows. He realized that real energy doesn't come from stimulation, it comes from purpose. Self-discipline became a quiet rhythm, not a punishment. Stoic wisdom came alive in everyday choices, saying no to the unnecessary and yes to what truly matters. That's what builds resilience, staying whole when the world tries to pull you apart. The most beautiful discovery: real pleasure comes from depth, not intensity. Life doesn't need constant dopamine spikes to feel meaningful. Sometimes, the greatest power lies in simply being whole, awake, and at peace. Because boredom was never the enemy. It was always the path back to consciousness. Silence was never the enemy. It was the teacher you've been avoiding. Between the noise of notifications and the storm of thoughts, you forgot what time feels like when it's not running away. Now you know, it wasn't lack of motivation, it was too much stimulation. Self-discipline isn't a cage, it's the way back to freedom. And dopamine detox isn't a trend, it's a return to yourself. So before you open the next app, pause, breathe, ask yourself, does this feed me or numb me? How many moments have you missed because you were too distracted to feel them? Resilience starts when you face the quiet and turn it into strength. If this message helped you see noise differently, leave a comment and share what you'll change in your daily life. And if you want to keep learning how to master your focus, reclaim your peace, and reconnect with what truly matters, subscribe, stay close, and keep walking with me into the Innerverse.